show. This is something that we do most evenings now. So this is a little bit of a different show to what we normally do. Scott, legend of the chat, JB has put us into slow mode. Exactly. Scott, legend, of course, one of our mods and one of the legends of this chat now. Apologies at points today I might be sniffing. I have an horrendous cold that I seem to have picked up from wherever, and yeah, it is a massive pain. So I've been coughing and sneezing all night. It seems to have dissipated for a bit, so hopefully we can just go on with the show. So tonight, this is as we say, this is the United Devil channel with me, JB. Feel free to get into the chat. As I always say, this is your show. This late show is pretty much your show. Get your opinions on. I'm just going to turn on the fan for a second because it is warm in here. Give me a second. I'm going to turn on the fan because it's warm in here. I can't tell if it's warm or whether it's my man cold. And as we all know, the man cold is a real condition. So guys, just get into the chat, get into this amazing community. I'm very fortunate with this community that we've grown so quickly. You guys have just been amazing in this chat. So again, massive thank you. I'm not a dictator of this chat. I respect your opinions in the chat, hence as well what we do here. It's not my way or the highway. This is a collaborative channel. Welcome from other channels. We get Liverpool fans, Spurs fans, Arsenal fans. Love it. The banter is cool as long as the banter is respectful. Otherwise, you will get absolutely banned. So, where are we this evening? So this is a preview show, getting some of your topics as well that you've seen today. Scott, what's good, JB? This chat is good. I'm full of cold. I did try and play a couple of games of FC 26 today. I'm getting better, but I am absolutely shocking it. Have to say, the defending on the game is ridiculous. And when you can't score, I'm basically United on FC 26 because I cannot score a goal. And I've got a pretty decentish team as well now. So I did spend some more money on it. It's ridiculous, but I'm not spending any more money in it. So yeah. So let's get into it tonight. So Brentford, 12:30 is an away game. It's one of the first games. Well, it is the first game over the weekend. 12:30 kickoff at the Gtech. Now, when we're looking at the league and we're looking at this game in particular, I think this is a really important game already. Now, I know we say this every single game, it is a must win. I do think already at this stage of the season, I do really truly believe that this is an absolute must win. This game, we are currently sitting 11th. We get points, and this is no disrespect to them as well. They are a good team. We could just as easily be in. We could be touching or in the relegation zone if this game goes wrong and the results do not go our way. A draw doesn't really help us. I think when we're talking about the game, getting your opinions about the game, what you think. If you think, apologies, I'm going to be coughing away. Let me know about what you think about the game. If you think that we're going to win, if you think that we're going to lose, feel free to get in your opinions on that. Now, I'll come on to what I think will happen in the game as well. I'll give you some updates on the team news, the interview for the game. The presser will be out tomorrow, so we can talk about that tomorrow. But I just wanted to get our opinions in, get our team in. Who do you think is going to play tomorrow? I'll put Lemmens on the thumbnail. So yeah, I'll give you my opinion on that based on some of those facts as well from Luckhurst, MEN, and from the Sun as well. So I'll give you my opinion on that. Scott says, if we start how we did against Chelsea, then we'll win. And Scott, agreed, my friend. However, if we start like we did and then Fulham, so my worry about tomorrow, so let's go through it, right? So tomorrow, in terms of the game, I think if we don't win, and we need a win, a draw is no good. Rob, good evening, my friend. Welcome. One of our mods as well, legend of this chat. Now, what's really important about tomorrow and the context of tomorrow for me is the Chelsea win becomes even better. The Chelsea win for me becomes even better if we win, because then we've got back-to-back wins. You know, Amorin puts that to bed. This team can put that to bed, and I really think that if we can beat Roll Sports Studios, welcome, my friend. Good evening. I hope you're doing extremely well this evening, and welcome to the show. Welcome. You have discovered the best community on this platform. This absolute legendary. Pravas Slavna, Red Star, legend of a club. Red Star, absolute amazing club. I mean, absolutely a legendary club. And Shank says we will win tomorrow. I'm loving this. Get your opinions in on this. Banter is welcomely received, of course. But again, just make sure that it's respectful. Again, get into the chat. Just give us a quick like and a favourite and a subscribe. And it really does help us out. So Bob Zed says hi. Hello, my friend. Hope you're doing really well this evening. So why is tomorrow so important? For two reasons. One, if we win tomorrow, 3 points. And again, we can't get carried away, right? I'm not going to get carried away if we win, as well as I'm not going to get carried away if we lose. I'm Amorin in. Again, let me know if you're Amorin in or out. There's a show that we did yesterday, and I gave you my opinion as to at what point I would be Amorin out, but I am Amorin in at this point. But let me know as diplomatic as you can if you are Amorin in or out. Forgive me tonight, I'm full of cold, so if I'm coughing away, it's because of that, so I can only apologise up front. So tomorrow's so important at this stage of the season. I think that we've had, and factually, we've had one of the most difficult starts. Roll Sports Studio says, controversial. Now, I'm a Spurs fan, but I do love to see someone else's opinion on Amorin. Again, we get some, what I love about what we do here, this is a United channel, right? But guys, I love fans from other clubs, and I'm with you, Roll Sports, right? It's really interesting what other fans from other clubs think of our club and think about our coach. I love that. Like I think that's such an open-minded thing to be, right? So Amorin for me, and we talk about this because this is like a major topic, right? And I mean, you know, we can't get bored of talking about it, right? So Lucas, again, it starts, Lucas. It starts. Mate, I don't mind the banter, Lucas. Just tell me, look, right? I don't mind people saying that we're SHRT, right? But don't be basic, Lucas. Welcome, my friend, Lucas. Give me some context, right? I don't mind you calling out the club, but just give us some context, mate. That's what I'm asking for. Triple says, hi, JB. Finished my test now. Last one didn't go so well. Look, Tulip, welcome back to the land of the living. I hope you did really well. Fingers crossed for you. You deserve to have a little bit of a chill now. So congratulations on doing your tests, finishing your test. You never know. Fingers crossed. So I'm sure you're going to be absolutely fine on that one. The guy next door says, but how long will you keep riding on luck and begin winning games confidently and convincingly? Like, if it were not for the red card that messed Chelsea in the first half, you guys would have lost. Guy next door, what I love, and I like that opinion because it's a different opinion to mine, and I think it's an opinion, right? And I'll always read opinions. I don't hide away from like anything on here. I think that's a valid opinion. We will never know, right? But surely football, in the first instance, as I'll say this, right? At the start of the season, and it's all there to see. What I said was right. The top four, or teams who are trying to do something, like a Liverpool, a City, Arsenal, Newcastle, even to a point, they don't wanna be lucky, right? So what they say is that we're gonna win the league, or we're gonna put ourselves into a position in the league where we know that we're going to finish fourth. So what they say is that, well, we're going to finish fourth, so we're going to buy players. We're not gonna like say, oh, we're hoping that we beat these teams. We're hoping that these teams are bad next season. And I'll come back to your point, is the fact that we're not confident. It's because we've not bought in a confident way. Yes, we've bought players, but the idiocy of that is you buy players, Cunha, right? So you buy 2 players, and you're thinking that you're going to get goals, and you think that you buy 2 of the 4 highest scorers in the league, and you think that that can translate into this team when we needed another centre back, left back, right back, a midfielder, possibly 2, and we are relying on luck. We are relying on teams around us not being great. And that's what I don't like. So I think it's very hard for us to win confidently because we're not confident. And this is why I think Amorin, I think this is the number one thing of his task this season, more than anything else, is to get these players confident, to get these players to believe. I don't think it's system. I don't think it's formation and system. I think it's mentality. Obviously, he doesn't have the right players for the systems. I can't completely blame them, but where I do have an issue with these players is the mentality. So that's a long way winded of saying I agree with you that we need to be more confident, and we have had luck. We've also had some bad luck as well, but I don't know after where we started the game whether we would have lost to Chelsea. It's difficult to say, but I'm just glad that we won. Roll Sports says, I think the only main problem is that he never changes his game plan. I completely get sticking to your guns as a manager, but I think he needs to accept that it's not working. I agree with you. I agree. I'm loath to say that this formation doesn't work. I will stick to my guns and say it's not formation, it's not the tactics, but where I will say that Amorin needs to change is he needs to park the formation, right? And what I mean by that is it doesn't mean that it doesn't work. You don't have the players for that system. So it's like basically trying to paint a wall with a knife and fork. Like, you don't have the tools for the job, so don't do it. And I am baffled at the decisions that he makes, the subs that he makes, the way that he doesn't play players. And I think even if you're going to play your system, at least play the right players in it. So I agree in part that if you don't have the tools for the system, which he doesn't, you've got to change something, and you've got to do it fast. Pappy Left Nipple, what's up, gang? Clive Harper, can someone tell me where do a team playing in the Europa League called Go Ahead Eagles from? Is that on TV information pages? Go Eagles. I thought they were like Go Eagles. Are they like a Belgian team or something like that, or a because I thought they were like I thought they were like an African team to be fair, but aren't they like a Dutch team, or a Dutch team, or a team from Belgium? We play on Friday. Should we play on Saturday, don't we? 12:30 on Saturday. Amorin doesn't seem confident at all. Do you notice him walking back and forth in his coach's box like he's super stressed? Pilot guy, agree with you, mate. I agree with you. I really do. I think he does. He's playing it game by game. He's playing it minute by minute. I think this club has that impact on managers and players. And I think you're right. He doesn't look like a guy right now. I think he's just a bag of nerves. You can't trust this team. And I think that ultimately is It's the inconsistency. I bet he's baffled sometimes about this team. So yeah, so I'll go through the chats and then I'll go through the team and what we think. Jimmy, welcome, my friend. Lucas says, Lucas, you don't need to apologise, my friend. You can say what you like. The only thing I ask is that give us some context, mate. Give us. I don't mind you calling the team rubbish. Just give us a reason why. Jimmy says, I'm a Newcastle fan. I think the glory days are over. I think your coaches and leadership have taken the club in the wrong direction, but last like that. Ups and downs, work to do. Jimmy, I don't disagree with you, mate. I think that every team has an era, right? We were very lucky to have an era that we had, right? The glory days, are they over? I think the glory days like we had them are over. You know, we are not that club. We are not that club anymore. Now, whilst the Glazers are still here and in charge, whilst this ownership is like the way that it is, the glory days, they're over. But I do think football's changed. I think that City, even for example, I think that Liverpool's glory days, but I think when we talk about the glory days, I think it's such a different league now. You know, who's to say that, you know, it's as much as Liverpool probably are going to win the league this year, I almost want to see a more competitive edge to the league now. So what I think that we're going to get is we may get Liverpool winning the league maybe twice or three times on the bounce, but I don't think we're going to see that team are going to be the best team in the world for 20 years. You know, you had the Liverpools, I know you had, you know, us, you've had City as well, but I think those days are done. You know, I would like to see somebody else come in. You know, the Geordies, you know, Jimmy, you know, passionate fan base. You know, I think it's unfair that you guys have, you know, got in owners and can't have the same opportunities that City have had. But I do agree. I think the glory days are done, and I think that until these Glazers are gone, we're never going to see any sort of league. Even though apparently we're going to try to win in 2028, that's just never going to happen. Are you from UK? I am Game Seal. Rob says we need to build on the win after the Chelsea game. If we draw or lose, it won't be good enough pressure. Then back on Amorin. So I hope he gets the win. Exactly. Go ahead, Eagles is from Holland. Yeah. I sort of thought that. I hear you, boss. The guy next door, legend. Oh my God. Yamurla. Hi from Turkey. Hello, my friend. Anubhav says, what do you think about the fact that players who leave their natural roles instead of what United system tells them to do, and they absolutely flourish? Do you know what? Really interesting comment, because that's what we spoke about on the earlier show today was the fact that, you know, how have we let these players down? Do we let players down? Right? And McTominay is one. You know, McTominay for me, could he be the epitome of, he was lambasted and he was, you know, we called him all sorts. Managers loved him. We couldn't understand that, or I'm not going to lie and pretend. I didn't want him to go. I understood why he had to go, but I just didn't understand where he fitted into this team. He's left because he was an ambitious lad, and look at him now. You know, so I do think that this toxicity in this club, the weight of expectation, the managers that we've had, and this is why I will say this: I'm Amorin in, but is Amorin the right guy? Was he the correct guy? And more so because when you play a different system and you always played a back four, and then this ownership tries to be clever and have done what they've done without backing him. You know, have they done the same? You know, are these some of these players, you know, like the Casemiros, the Luke Shaws are they're older, they're injured, you know, they're not great. But Ahmad, you can see in the likes of him, you know, if Ahmad went to a different team, I think he'd be an immense player. But I think you're right. I do. John Carr says win 5-0. I don't know about that. When will United get another Rooney? Mate, he is a talent who just comes along every 10 or so years. You've got a Lamal who's come through now. He is a... We won't. We'll be very lucky if we did. Oh yeah, Scotty. Sorry, mate. It's the cold. I keep thinking that it's Friday. So for me, at the start of the show, talking crap. The game is Saturday at 12:30. So what I said at the start of the show, ignore me. This is why Scott is a mod, because he's on it. Emmanuel says we're going to win. I hope so. Anubeth says please read my comment. I did. Don't worry. I'm trying to get to it, my friend. This is the channel where I will get through as much as I can. Roll Sport says he needs to realise that this isn't Sporting Lisbon anymore. Exactly, it is United, and he needs to adapt the game plan. Each player's strengths and weaknesses is very different in the Prem. I agree with it. What I like about that is the fact that you're not necessarily talking about the formation, which I think is a boring chat now because he's not going to change it. I think you're spot on. It is about adapting his game plan. It's about you need to adapt literally every game. Every game is winnable for anybody. Like, anybody on this day can beat anybody. And you're absolutely right. He needs to adapt his game plan, play to their strengths, because this Premier League is not Lisbon. This is not the Portuguese league. And you're right. I'm Amorin in, but for me, the best managers will change the system to suit the team we play. Him sticking to his system could get him sacked. Brentford on Saturday, already know how we were set up. Exactly. No, Rob, I think that a manager needs a style of play, right? So, Pep has a style of play, right? So you know how Pep will play, right? Pep has adapted over the years a bit, but you sort of know that style of play, right? But Pep does adapt. So I'm not bothered about Amorin's his tactics really, or his style of play, but what is beginning to annoy me is you need to adapt and tweak the system. I'm not saying go to a back four, but I'm just saying play to these play strengths. If you are going to play that back three, you need to do something. Either maybe you have a centre midfield, you replace one of the centre backs with a CDM who basically is like a centre back, but he just plays in that role in front. So you've almost got you've still got your back three, but one of those is more of a CDM, is an ultra defensive CDM. Just a little tweaks like that. It says Sancho, Scott, McTominay, Alanga, Rashford, Wan-Bissaka all flopped because the system was too rough, sometimes too demanding, sometimes too predictable. Amorin isn't a bad tactician, in my opinion. I'll come back on all those. Sancho, no. Sancho is a mercenary. Sancho, wherever he goes, he causes issues. Sancho, I disagree with Sancho. I respect the opinion. I do. I'm not calling you out. This is just my opinion, and I'm not saying that you're wrong. Sancho, for me, no. McTominay, yes. I think that he was probably the right player under a couple of managers, but probably not used right. Alanga was too young. I mean, Alanga, I semi-agree, and I don't. Alanga needed to move away. It's not like Alanga moved away and was the best player in that team the very next season. It took him 2 or 3 seasons to become the player that he was. So, I semi-agree with that one, but I don't. Rashford, nah. Look, Rashford is one of those players that he played amazingly well here, and then he didn't. He's had 2 really, really good seasons. Rashford's problem was mentality and ego. That was nothing to do with this club, in my opinion. that was his ego. Wan Bissaka, he didn't flop, but again, you know, you can argue this. You know, he's gone to West Ham, but look, West Ham are not doing anything good, are they? So Wan Bissaka, I don't think flopped. You know, he's gone to West Ham. He's been one of the better players. Has he been a success? You could probably argue yes, but Wan Bissaka for me doesn't really belong in that chat. I think probably out of all those, McTominay really, and Sancho's definitely not for me. Winston Churchill, legend of the chat. Yes, I think he's been great for United. Hopefully the club keeps him when he takes you to League One. Andrew Edwards, legend of the chat. Buongiorno, my friend. The King. United are simple as man live with it. United are shit simple as the man live with it. King. You know what I love about comments, King, is that what I find about that is that I don't mind the banter at all. Yeah, it's really funny that, you know, people try to get a rise out of people. And if you think I'm simple, I'm sure you're the smartest man on the planet. You know, I'm sure you are. Good luck to you. The Tipping Time says, admire your consistency, mate. I try to be as consistent as I possibly can. I don't forget the things that I say, really. And I do try to be as consistent as I can. Chat Sports says, good evening. Good evening, my friend. Sancho is toxic. I agree with you, Chris. Watch along on Saturday. Yes, Scott, I would be doing a watch along. Anubhav says, but to your answer, I agree. Amorin isn't using his players as maximum efficiency. United can pull signings like Mainoo. He never the roles that he needed. Rob says, JB, what do you think the team will be? I know I always ask you this question and score. I'll come on to that now. I will come on to that. We can talk through the team as well. So I'll give you that as well. So let me get through the chat. And I will. Rashford plays for a contract. Tipping Time, exactly. Rashford is about ego, Chris. Is this Nicholas Evans? I love it. Is this Mark? Is it Mark Greybridge? I love it, Nicholas. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. That is hilarious. Stephen Moore says, no, I think you're wrong about Rashford. The club was toxic. It's a different one. I think it's a difficult one, Stephen. It's hard to judge. It's hard to judge. I think Rashford become toxic. I think the club is toxic as well. Yeah, I think it's very angry. JB just playing. I'm not angry. Nicholas, it made me laugh. Made me laugh, JB. It made me laugh. Absolutely did. So let's go through the team. So what do I know? So according to Luckhurst, quoted in the Manchester Evening News, correspondent for The Sun, Lemmens is pushing. So apparently this has come out today. You might have seen it all over the shop. That basically they call him the Iron Mound or the Iron Mounting. So Lemmens apparently is absolutely tearing down trees. So much so that reports are being put out there, and we'll find out this tomorrow, that Lemmens is probably going to start the game. So let me know how you feel about that. Let me know about Lemmens. Let me know, do you think he should start? I absolutely think he should. I've been of that opinion. You know, I know that he has to come into the squad. That's it. The Iron Dome, isn't it? I mean, the Iron Dome. I mean, you know. But it's very, very difficult. It's very, very different playing in training with the videos of the five-a-side teams and taking winning team picks and all that crap, which I absolutely detest. That I think it is just a ludicrous thing to do. But apparently, you know, again, one of the things I will say about that is that if he's doing that, he's all the time building confidence in this back four, and this is what he needs to do. He needs to build up that rapport. Now, Luckhurst goes on to say that he's actually settled down, right? So he's gone and bought himself a house. He's integrating with his players. integrating his family into the community, and that, you know, I know when I'm consistent and I talk about a mentality, right? I talk about mentality. These are the small things that you can tell about a player. That the mentality that these players have. Ferguson was so big on that, and the only reason why I'm even bringing that up is when you look at players and you look at that, it's so fundamentally key. It's so key. I reckon. So Ross says, I reckon if McTominay was still there, him and Casemiro as CDMs, Bruno as one cam, maybe buying a new striker would give you a real offence and defensive boost on the pitch. And this is what I was saying before, right? Is that when we're looking at a mentality of players, right? The reason why McTominay has impressed me so much is for two reasons. Is number one, he wanted to leave himself. Now, he's been here since he was a kid, and he wanted to go away. And he could have crumbled. He could have crumbled and been like, no, you know, he immersed himself in the Napoli team, so much so he was the best player in Serie A. Now, no matter what you definitely think, no matter what people think about that league, to go on and do what he's done, mentality-wise, that is unbelievable. So I absolutely agree, and I will even admit on this one that I'm wrong on this one. McTominay would absolutely do so well in this team. If you want that box to box, because Amorin likes these two box to box, defensive-ish, running, tackling, all action centre midfielders. McTominay would be amazing. So, you know, when we're talking about Lemmens and we're talking about these sorts of players, mentality is absolutely key. And Roll Sports agree completely. Shabam says, where are you from? I'm from the UK. JB, I would definitely start Lemmens. I think the manager has penciled him in for this game, and now City game, Chelsea game is out of the way. I'd also think if Mount's fit for me, we might start him as a false nine. Where's Lee today? I know I do miss Lee Scott. He's probably out on AFTV shouting Arteta out. So to go back to Rob's early question, what do I think the team will be? So let's go through it. So I think Lemmens will start. I really do. I think Lemmens will start. I mean, we'll probably, I'm not going to. This is from a credible source. Now, the reason why I say that Luckhurst is a credible source, not normally, and not in terms of like the window where we buy players, but in terms of the sort of, you know, he goes to the conferences, you know, he gets fed stuff. So in terms of the sort of everyday stuff, you know, these are the reports that are starting to be leaked out. So I really hope it's true. I do think Lemmens finally starts. What else do we have? We also have Mazraoui. So Mazraoui is, by all accounts, not in any of the training pictures. I think Mazraoui is probably injured again. I know he's just come back. I think maybe there's a precaution with him. I don't think he plays. I really hope he does, but I think Mazraoui, we need to be so careful with him. So who's back? Delo's back, so he's back as well. So I think that Delo comes back into this team. I think Mazraoui is out now. It doesn't matter how we feel about that. I'm not really sure. Right, mate, I better head off. Keep it up, and all the best for yourself and the rest of the season. New sub. Thank you, my friend. Absolutely appreciate that. I hope to see you soon, my friend. So take care. So I think, and we'll go through the team again. So Mazraoui is out. Mainoo, I think Mainoo gets a start. I think Mainoo is pushing. Apparently, Mainoo is doing everything that he possibly can to get into this team. He's doing all sorts of stuff. So I think Amorin has set him the task, and I think Amorin wants to see response from him. I'm not the biggest fan of that pivot. I'm not the biggest fan because we know we're going to play that pivot, right? So I'm not the biggest fan of the Mainoo pivot. I think Mainoo should start. So if Mainoo doesn't start with Casemiro suspended, he should rip up his contract. Andrew, yeah, I agree with you. So I think the team will be, I think he'll go with a Delo on the right. He goes, Yoro, I think, comes back in for this one. Delict, and I think he puts Luke Shaw in again. It is what it is. Dorgu on the left, Lemmens as a keeper, Lucas Bro, hello my friend. Lemmens goes in goal. I think he goes Mainoo. I think he's forced to. I think Ugarte is being abjectly terrible, so I think Mainoo plays in that number 8 role, and I think this is on Mainoo now. So as much as we can talk about excuse me, it's awful cold. We can talk about Amorin. We can talk about him not giving Mainoo a chance. Grimsby, he failed that audition in my opinion. He'll get his chance, so he needs to take his chance. So I think we'll see Mainoo and Bruno in the 6 and 8, and then I think he goes Mbumo. I think he goes Shesko. I think Shesko plays, and I think he goes Kenya. So I think Ahmad might drop to the bench. Lucas says, "Guess who's back?" Lucas is back. So that's what I think he does. And do I think we'll win? I think we'll have a nervy win. I think that I don't trust this team, and that is my issue here. Is that I don't trust this team, and I think if we come out like we did, and we score the goals early, I think we'll comfortably win the game. But I don't know. I'm going to predict a win. But I'm going to predict an uncomfortable. I'm going to predict an uncomfortable 2-1. It's going to be a difficult game. We're away from home. I'm just hoping that we can get another performance out of the team, out of these players. If Lemmens comes in, if he's instilling confidence in these players now, that will allow the back three to come out and play. We need Fernandes to have another good performance. Lucas, mate, it doesn't matter. Lucas, you've not said anything wrong. If you think this team is awful, it's all good. It's all good. Andrew says, can say it's on Mainoo. Any player playing as Bruno's CM partner is destined for trouble. I don't disagree. Again, this Bruno experiment. Aaron says, mate, I'm not getting into all that. This is definitely not the channel for that. I will say I believe in people more than anything else. As much as there are bad people in this world, I also believe that there are good people as well. I believe in people. I think you can fall on either side, but I believe in people. But that's just me. I read Mount and Cunha were back in, which means Shesko will end up on the bench. Interesting one, Andrew. I think Shesko's going to play. I really do. I think, and Andrew, this is now where we're going to see what this is now, Andrew. And I think you make a fantastic point. Is that I think that Amorin now is going to have to start to tweak this system game to game. So Mason Mount for me is not a starter because I just don't think he can. I like him, but why buy 2 number 10s if you're not going to play him? And this is the problem that Amorin and this football inside has backed him into a corner because they bought him these 2 number 10s, and he's going to have to play. He's going to have to play them. So I think Cunha and Mbumo are the 10s. I think Shesko plays up front. We may be surprised, and you may be right. Maybe he plays Cunha as the false 9 again, but I think Shesko starts. I do. I really, really do. Glory, Man United, says Lucas. I have a friend that is a Man United fan, and I wanted to troll him, please. Lucas, no worry, my friend. No worries at all. Angie Edwards says, no, the question is, why buy 2 number 10s when the 2 best players from last year were number 10s? But we've already had that argument. Angie, I mean, I don't understand why we bought 2 number 10s. I don't get it. I do know why, because this club is very, very short-sighted and run by people that apparently are football experts, right? Who think that if you take two of the gettable top 4 scorers and assisters in the league, bring them into your club and think that they're going to get those goals and assists, they're stupid. I don't believe Amorin wanted those 2 number 10s. I don't. I'll be staggered, right? I think he knows what he needed. I think that this club thought that they had enough in the midfield. Hence, that's why they were scrambling around towards the end of the window trying to buy another midfielder. I think they know they messed up. We didn't need the 2 number 10s. Mbeumo winner versus old club. Yeah. Eze for Arsenal. I love United, says Lucas, legend. So let me know what you think about the game. What I additionally really want to know is, if we don't win and it's a who knows, where do we go from there? Because the Chelsea win is great. We lose a game and we could possibly be in like the bottom 3 or like the bottom 4. Again, at what point does this fan base ultimately lose patience? And what I mean is, I think this game, I think, is so important to win. I think this is probably the one of the most important games that can turn this season. Now, I'm not a sort of person who will come on and say that every single game that we must win this game or blah 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 blah. But it's not an overreaction on my part, on the basis that a back-to-back win, and how crazy is it that I'm a United fan and I'm hoping and praying for a back-to-back win. We've got a club talking about wanting to win the Premier League by 2028, and we can't even win back-to-back games. Sao Paulo, or I don't even know where the second one is, mate. Good evening from the Netherlands. Good evening, my friend. Rob Taff says, evening all, need to have back-to-back wins, build some momentum. I agree with you completely. As I was just saying, that it's just such a... This is what I was saying before the start of the season, right? Is that you put yourself in a position where you can go and win 2, 3, 4, 5 games on the bounce, because you're going to set yourself up and give yourself a platform. We are relying this season on luck. We are relying on a coach that, and many of you are Amorin out, a coach that finished with this team, and it wasn't his fault. They finished 15th last season. How do you put yourself in the best position that you can to say, look, we're going to finish at least 8th this season? You go and get the players, and you go and recruit better. Our recruitment was okay, but it wasn't brilliant. David Mbago says it's a perfect chance for Lemmens. Agree with you completely. So the Iron Mound, as he's being called, I think it's time. I think it's time to release the Kraken. If we can win these 3 games, I think Liverpool is a free hit. We'll keep winning until Liverpool at Anfield, which we could draw, and if we play like how we played on Saturday, if we win the next 2 games and a draw at Anfield, I think that is a good platform. Quito is Ecuador, Copa Libertadores. Disregard, keep talking about trying to reach 11th place United. Thanks, Benja. What should I do not to be banned? Nothing. Look, Lucas, all you got to do not to be banned is just be respectful. We don't mind the banter. Don't mind the banter. Don't mind the banter. The only thing I cannot stand, Lucas, is disrespect to this community. Don't disrespect yourself. And I think that's probably more the thing, is that you don't need to disrespect yourself. Don't disrespect the community, and you will not get banned. I mean, that is the only. I only ask for a couple of things on here. I don't mind. I don't mind the banter. The swearing wise, I mean, if people swear, just don't read it out. But it's all good. Bluey Games says Lemmens should start against Brentford and Binder against Sunderland and Liverpool. I think Bluey Games. I think if Lemmens comes in, he's got to stay in. Goalkeepers can't. Goalkeepers shouldn't really be moved around. They're not like players. I mean, that's my opinion on it. If he's marked Binder for the Liverpool game, don't play Lemmens. Just keep Binder in goal, because changing them around, they're not like strikers. Goalkeepers need to basically play constantly. So I think that Lemmens, if he's coming in, he comes in and he stays. If not, then play Binder, because he just needs that consistency. Lucas says, "I'm sorry, I want Lucas." It's cool. Cherky coming back to City training, says to Jay Hughes. Yeah, good luck to City. I did have a little bit of a rant yesterday at some City fans, but Jay, as long as we don't want the banter, and we do get some absolute sensible fans on here as well. Blue Games says, thing is, we thought Onana was crap last season, which he was, but he was great against Liverpool. And that's the risk you take, right? I mean, you can't. The thing is with keepers, you either have to stick with them or you don't. So there's no point in changing them around. And Andrea says Binder should stay in until the Liverpool game. At least don't put the poor kid through that. And exactly, I mean, I think that Andrew's got a point. I do think he's got a point. I think Lemmens is ready. I would put Lemmens in, but if Amorin is not confident, and if Amorin, like you say, is thinking about being there for the Liverpool game, keep him in. Just don't change him. And as Andrew says, I mean, don't put him through it. I mean, get rid of that. Get rid of these games, and then let him play after that. So I think you could go either way on this one. I think everybody's going to have a different opinion on this one. I would say just play him. I mean, what is the worst that could possibly happen? We all know Binder is going to have an awful game, but I think I would much respect Lemmens if he said, "Look, I want to play," because that shows he's a confident keeper, and I'd rather that. Lucas says, "And ban me." I don't think you're banned, mate. Are you? You're not banned, mate. With Mountain Cunha back, or Shesko still start. I think he will. I do. I think he will. I do think he will. I think the temptation there. The thing is with Mason Mount. Now I know a lot of you really like Mason Mount. So Jay says Shesko's crap. You can't say that, Jay. I mean, Jesus Christ, mate. Jay's only been 4 games, mate. It's only been 4 games. I mean, he's not crap. I mean, we don't get the ball to him. I know he's not crap. I mean, look, Jay. I mean, it's easy to say. I get it, but he's not crap. I mean, he will come good. I mean, look, right. Højlund, I said at the time, was a good signing. But I think Shesko is a different striker. I think those people who are saying that Shesko is crap, Jay, all I'm saying is that watch this space. Watch this space. You just don't know, right? So watch this space, and let's give him at least to the end of the season. I mean, if he hasn't scored a goal by then maybe that's another conversation to be had. But I mean, it's 4 games. I mean, come on. Lemmens will get the blame if we lose to Liverpool, which is a big problem with the media and some fans. They'll always scapegoat a decent player. Interesting one. You make a good point. You do make a good point. The problem is this is my problem now, right? And it's not my problem with your comment. I think your comment is a very valid comment, and it completely makes sense, right? I get it completely. But I'm sick of being scared. Like, I'm tired of this, and this is not against you. As a fan, I'm tired of being scared. I'm tired of this whole, we buy a goalkeeper, who we've scouted well. I don't think this fan base will tear him down, mate. I won't tear him down. It will be other fans. It will be the media. But the problem is that if he's not tall enough or big enough to handle that, then we should have gone and got a more experienced keeper. So as much as I don't want to ruin the guy, he's 22 years old, if he can't handle the pressure, then don't come to this club. Like, we have to start shifting away from protecting these players. Like Shesko, for example, I'll give him time. He needs time. I'm not saying do not give them time. But what I'm saying is I'm tired of us signing these learner drivers. Lemmens, if he wants to play and Amorin thinks he's good enough, play him. We can't have... I can't have this mentality that, like when we bought Roy Keane. Roy Keane came into the squad. We bought... You can't buy players, protect them just in case we lose a game or just in case... I think fans... I genuinely believe with Lemmens, these fans will give him time. I think we want to see him play. I will certainly give him time. I absolutely know that he'll get abused, but we need to see him. We need to see his mentality. If, for example, we played and he played tomorrow and he had a clanger tomorrow, just keep playing him, because he needs to bed into the culture and know what this club is. So I get it, and while I agree with it, I'm tired of being scared. I think we absolutely just have to play these players. Yes, you can. I can then. Yeah, exactly. David Bogo says Shesko should start. I agree. Andrew Hedder says yeah. Jay says Shesko is. Oh, Jay, hilarious. Can only see comment every yes, because it's on slow mode. Then I think hard about what to say. Højlund was crap before he went to Napoli. I know, Andrew. I think Højlund for me is a bit of a funny one. I think that the problem for me with him, right, is that at such a young age, you don't know what a player will be like. Højlund could have been the next big thing, but the problem when you buy them at that age is, as you say, it's either going to be good, or it's either going to be sort of bad, right? He needed to go to the right club. I think he should have stayed where he was, and a striker is so difficult thing to get right. And this is why historically, Fergie always bought experienced strikers, because at such a young age it's so difficult to predict what they're going to be. So I don't blame us for buying him. I blame us for paying a ridiculous price. But you're right. Maybe he wasn't that good to begin with. Jay says 100 million plus for Wirtz, another crap player. We didn't sign Wirtz. I mean, Jay. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, look, mate. I mean, give us some context, Joe. All I'm asking for is I don't mind calling players crap and give them time. I mean, Verts was a lot of money. I get it, but give these players time. I mean, he's Verts. Verts has got time. He's a young guy. I as much as you think that's a massive outlay, I'll still say it's not a bad deal. I mean, he's a young guy. He's going to get better and better and better. Look, Jay, I mean, these players need time. Højlund needs time to develop in the Spaghetti League. He can't keep up with the Prem. We just saw that in the Champions League. Jay says, you had your chance to sign. Well, the thing is, Jay, we didn't, because we were never going to sign him. We were never going to sign him because we weren't prepared to pay his wages. Jay, we were never in that race. No, I wish we were. Now, look, right, City do their business, right? City, I admire the fact that you conned a young keeper to come back to the club, and then you had an opportunity then to get one of the best keepers in the entire world, and you just went, do you know what? Sorry, we signed you, but we're going to get a better goalkeeper. That is cutthroat. That is how big clubs operate. And I take my hat off to City for that. They don't mess around. They want to be the best of the best of the best, and that is what you do. So we were never in that race. Never. Binder might just keep his place until he makes a mistake, which is only a matter of time. But if I was Amorin, I would say to the men's, go and show everyone what you can do. Sunshine, agreed. There's so many reports now that I think the men should start. I'm 50-50 on it. I want Le Mans to start. I really do. Jay says, you had the chance to sign him. Jay, we fucking didn't, mate. We were not in the running. We were never in the running. No matter how much you put it in caps, we were never in the running to sign him. We inquired, but we never made a bid. We never made a play because he was too much money. He wanted too much money. We never. Look, Jay, you can inquire about players without trying to sign them. We were never in that race. He's too expensive, and we were never in that race. Should we have been? Yes, but we weren't. The media taught Højlund he just got into the Prem at the time. Poor lad. Xerxes shouldn't have started. Xerxes should have started a lot more games last season. Højlund couldn't deal with the pressure. I agree with you. Xerxes, I think Xerxes has been damaged as well. What I'll say, I think Xerxes was what I admire about that kid, and what I'll always say about him. He got absolutely destroyed. Right, the media absolutely destroyed him. The fans did after 4 games. Right, Xerxes didn't have a pre-season. I know Xerxes, and he was going to go, and he decided to stay. I mean, that is mentality. I wish he could have played more. I don't know what's going on this season. I think Xerxes is going to go. I think it's sad. I really do. The problem is that because we're not playing enough games, Xerxes is just not going to get the time. He's just not going to get the time. So I think if we'd have had more games, if we have had a Europa League to play, if we'd have had a Carabao Cup to play, I think Xerxes would have played in those games, and I just don't think he was. So I think for me, Xerxes goes. I think it's sad, but I do. Alexis Sanchez, the GOAT. Xerxes is a joke. Jay, mate, look. Jay, give us some context, mate. Look, I know you think this player and that player's crap. Just give us some context. Like, tell me why you think he's a joke. Tell me why you think that Šeško's crap. Tell me why you think that these players are crap. A lot of money. Add more context. Was Xerxes a lot of money? I mean, you could argue that, but as a young player, I mean, right. If you look at this, right, and I've tried to sort of, and Rob Taff, Henry didn't score in his first 9 games at Arsenal. Rob Taff, I was going to mention that, and I didn't. So it's literally like you've plucked it out of my brain. I was going to mention that, and I've like forgot. Is that, and I'm not suggesting that Shesko is going to be like an Henry, but it's true. You know, it takes players a little bit of time to adjust to a league, and Shesko will adjust 100%. Would you take Harry Kane for 57 million, Rob? No, I wouldn't, mate. I wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't. Not. It would be 33 at the start of next season. Where I would concede that, Rob, is that if we got into the Champions League, and I don't think that we will do, would I sign Kane? The problem with signing Kane is that we've got Shesko. If Harry Kane comes into this club, Shesko doesn't start. I don't think Sir Jim is going to do that. I don't think Sir Jim is going to spend 57 million on a 33-year-old. Would I do it? If it was at a lower price, so if it was 40 million, yes, I would. Harry Kane is probably the best striker. I think he's better than Haaland. I think Haaland will go on to be one of the best strikers, but I think Harry Kane is probably right now the best in terms of overall game and what he contributes to games. I think he's the best striker. Would I take him next season for 40 million? Possibly, but we need to be in Champions League. So I think that if you're going to try to not win the Champions League, but if you want to get into Champions League, then you show them. I think the boat on that one has gone, sadly. But I'd probably take him for 40 million. But you know that just is not going to happen. They need to do a FIFA position change on Xerxes to a 10 behind Shesko or an 8. I think that Xerxes, Amorin doesn't fancy Xerxes. You know, with the emergence of Mason Mount again coming back into the squad, I just don't see how he's going to play. So I like Xerxes, I really do. No, Kane too slow. Wayne says, I think Isak is going to be up there with the best. It's interesting, Wayne, actually. I think he will. I think Isak, for me, he's not Haaland, right? I think he offers more than Haaland. And what I mean is I think he's a better player than Haaland. He's no Kane. I don't think Isak is going to be like Haaland numbers. I don't think he's going to be Henry numbers. I think he's going to be. It's really difficult to judge him, right? He's a great player. There is no doubt. I think Isak can be anything he wants to be. I think he's a very awkward striker. And what I mean is that he gets the ball, and because he's all arms and legs, but he knows how to score as well. So I think he's going to be an absolute handful. I think Liverpool I just can't believe they've gone and got Ekitike, who I think's brilliant. I think he's fantastic. And Isak, I mean, it is ridiculous. Jay says Trafford must have been told. He wasn't, Jay. He wasn't told, mate, because the reason why he left City in the first place was because Edison came into the club. He wasn't told. Like, he thought he was coming in, and if you listen to the interviews that he did and what he's even been told, but it's all out there. The interviews are out there completely. You know, City basically paid 40 odd million quid, and the reason why he was bumped down to 27 million was because the sell-on clause that they had knocked the money off of him. So basically, he's a £40 million keeper. That he was the first choice keeper, and it was only because he become available that's why you signed. So Jay Trafford had no idea. Blue Games, if Vert signed for United, he would be getting banned to the left, right, and not performing. Agreed. Bluey Games, agreed. He would be getting absolutely hammered. I don't think it's right, by the way. Vert should not be getting hammered at all. He's a young guy. It's not his fault. But I agree with you. He'd be getting absolute pelters. Mark Weston, didn't you? JB, you tell him. Would have never have joined us. He wouldn't have. He would never have. F1 Turbo says, Man United couldn't afford to buy a player from the Championship. Oh, F1 Turbo 77. That's funny because we bought Shesko. We paid Brentford 70 million. Cunha was 65 million. So, that sort of. Jay says something is still sour. I agree with you, Jay. Jay, mate, I agree with you completely. The Glazers. It is the Glazers. It is Sir Jim. Sir Jim. When you've got a family who are just some of the worst owners, some of the worst people. I will give City shit, right, for being bought on like oil money, right? Okay, and I can banter you about history, and I can try to banter you about all sorts of stuff, all right? But at least your fucking owners came into your club and invested their money into your club. They came into your club, right? And their sole aim was to basically be the best club that they could be, right? And they did it. Like I could banter City, and to be fair, City fans, you haven't really got a leg like to stand on, right? But irrespective of that, you've got owners who came into your club and wanted to make you the best, and that is what they've done. They've made you into a powerhouse. They've you make money. You're sufficient now. Whether I like it or not, that is what they did. Okay, whether or not they've cheated in that, but ultimately that is what they've done. The Glazers have just absolutely conned their way into this club. They are fucking leeches, and they continue to be a stain on this club, and they are going to be a stain. And Sir Jim has allowed them to do that. It's still toxic, and it's absolutely awful. This is rage bait. What are you on about? Look. Nobody needs to get rage baited by such a shitty comment. Tipping Time says Xerxes a baller. Yeah, I agree with you. So Berbatov was an absolute legend, wasn't he? Every man player was crap. F1 Turbo 77. I'm guessing F1. I'm guessing. This is just a little guess. Little guess is that you were born in 77, so that makes you 48 years old, nearly 50 years old. Look, mate, all I'm saying is just, maybe you need to, you can't be married. My wife wouldn't let me rub it on about footy in the room on my own. I am married, and Hernande, mate, I work extremely hard. It is 11:27 at night. My missus is in bed. I work a full-time job. I put the kids to bed. I make dinner. I spend time with my other half. This is just extra, So I am trying to, I am trying to hustle something that I love. I just work extremely hard. I fulfill all of my husbandly stuff that I need to do as well. So but feel free if this is not for you, feel free to go and sort out your wife, mate. Seeing the Carabao Cup fixture, Grimsby versus Brentford hurt. I agree with you. Paul Edwards says you need Palace manager. He knows how to make plays better and get him. You're the best team in the world, but you get a second-class manager. Paul, thank you for that. I disagree on the fact that we're the best team in the world. We're not. I'm not going to pretend that we are. I'm not a fan who's going to pretend that we're like the best in the world and we can fix this. The only way a coach comes into this club and partly fixes it is by basically playing these players in a system that they want. These players want to play a 4-4-2, but these players will want to play a 4-4-3 counter attack. That is all that they can do. Now, whatever manager, do you think Galazno, who plays the back three as well, by the way, I think, what's he going to do with these players? There is no manager in this world. There's only one coach who will come into this club if Amorin is sacked. Southgate. It is that simple. So Jonathan Hindle says Harry Kane. Not for me, but I can see why. Hyundai JB has a loving family. It's his choice to talk to about football. We watch him. If you don't, thank you, Blue Games. Exactly that. Mate. I am very, very fortunate. I've got an amazing family, amazing wife, and I just hustle as many people do in life. Mount is trash. Now, I would have not agreed with you. Wouldn't have been as harsh as that. Mount is not trash. He's just injury prone. He's a young man who's injury prone. He's got a career threatening injury that could basically, injure him and take him out at any point. He's just not long term. Mount is just not long term. He's, as I've said, he's very, very good in a 2x2, in a 3x3 sort of box. He can play in the hole. He can play in a space, but he can't run up and down that pitch. He just can't do it. So he's not trash. I just think that he's a very, very good player who we have to be very, very careful with. Blue Game says, Cunha and Mount, when they start, are fantastic, but when they come on, they play like prime Jadon Sancho. I love it. Paul Edwards says, you would be 12th in the league by the end of the season. I think, Paul, we're talking a lot of ball. Look, Paul, as I always say on here, I'll read your chats out. I don't mind banter. All I'm going to say is don't disrespect people in here. I don't think that's a disrespectful thing to say, really. I mean, you can swear, but I really don't care. I don't think we'll be 12th. I think I've predicted between 8th and 10th. I really, really hope I'm wrong on that one. I think we're about 9th. Paul, if you don't like what I'm saying, if you don't like how I talk in the way that I say it, this is free. Paul, so mate, feel free to move along. It's free, look, don't waste your time. Don't waste your time on something and somebody that you don't like. Right? There's life is there to be lived. Right? I'm sure there are other people, other things that you could watch. You could go and watch some paint dry. I'm sure in your mind that's more exciting than me. Don't waste your time. If I'm not for you, if this channel isn't for you, mate, just go and enjoy life. Wayne says Vincent Kompany was one of the best City players. Vincent Kompany, mate. When you talk about certain players, right? Kompany was brilliant, absolute fantastic. And whether we like it or not, whatever club we look at, there are players, like Salah, for example, fantastic player. He is one of the all-time Premier League greats. Van Dijk. I know there's I'm not going to argue the toss between like who was, but he's up there. So there are players from different clubs, but company are, yeah. So Delio says, what is the topic of this live? Can you update me? I'm a newbie. Of course I can, my friend. So basically we are reviewing the game, the preview of the game, the Brentford game, 12:30 on Saturday. This is a late show. We sort of broadly talk about a topic. Basically what's really, really important is that we follow it up with a win, because we're sitting 11th. If we win that game, we pretty much go up to joint second, third and fourth. If we lose, we can be down in like the bottom three potentially. We need to win this game, because to follow up the Chelsea win would be amazing. A back-to-back win, it gives us points. Then we go to the team, So I think Lemmens will probably start. I really hope he does. That's what's coming out from some of the journalists like Luckhurst, who is is a very respected guy from the Sun. MEN as reported on it as well. So I think that Lemmens could start. Mazraoui is out. Mainoo is looking to push in there because Casemiro has got a red card, so he's out. So, and I think overall, I think we are going to win. I think it'll be a very, very cagey win, but I do think that we will. Can't believe United out of the Carabao Cup and Wrexham are still in it. Jay Hughes, don't depress me, mate. I mean, it is, look, the Grimsby game. Everybody saw the Grimsby game, right? There's nowhere to hide. There's nowhere to hide, and I fully accept the banter, Jay. 100%. Right? You can't lose to Grimsby in the manner that we did and not expect the banter. It's true. Absolute true. Wayne says, how on earth do you get the Glazers out? Wayne, how do we get the Glazers out, mate? The fans do it, mate, but the fans are so toxic. Not all of us, but it is going to be so difficult to do. Liverpool fans would not have it, not in a million years. But we argue amongst each other about who's going to be, who is the biggest fan, who is the greatest fan, who should be playing. When we basically forget, it's almost to me inconsequential about Amorin. I think it's inconsequential about the players, and still as a fan base, we care more and more about that. We're never going to get these guys out. What about Ruud van Nistelrooy? He was a legend, absolute legend. So we go for the chats. So Johnny says, gave you a subscribe and I'll turn on notifications. The other channel with the ex-cop was too toxic these days. Johnny, thank you, my friend. Appreciate, mate. I will thank every single person who's subscribed. It actually means so much to me that you guys subscribe and watch the channel. What I'll always do in here, I'll try to be fair. I try not to shy away from the difficult questions, but I do really appreciate that, my friend. We're better than the United Standard. We are, mate. We absolutely are. We are smaller. Now, I will never say that I'm better, because I'm not. This channel is only as good as the people on it, and that is a fact. JB is our slave owner. I was a member for ages. I don't watch him anymore. He doesn't reply to anyone other than super chats. What do you think about Mainoo? The nothing guy. I think Mainoo needs to get a shot. I do. From what I'm hearing, I think Mainoo's doing everything he can to get back into this team, and I admire that. The only thing with Mainoo is, if this contract thing is true, that he wants 200k. His agency, by the way, is the same as Henderson's. If they persist with this contract of 200k a week, it's not going to happen, and he'll move. But Mainoo is always going to be up and down, right? Because he's a kid. And as I've said many times, Mainoo is a young guy. You don't stop as an athlete. You grow until you're 21 years old, right? In the next 18 months to 2 years, I think he's going to be one of the best midfield players in the world. I don't think we should do everything we can to keep him. He's not worth 200k, but that for me is the gamble. Do you gamble on his future and go, look, we think you're going to be that guy, or do you just allow him to go in basically the hope that he's not going to fulfill the potential? And I think that is the conundrum for me. I think he's a fantastic talent, the way that he holds on to the ball, but he wants 200k a week, and allegedly wants 200k a week, and he's sometimes you've got to say no, and I think we'll find that really quickly. Mistakes says building a new stadium in the midst of oncoming recession is going to set United back a decade. You've had your time under Fergie, now it's time to suck it up. I don't know what you're talking about, a recession, because we're not. Recession-wise, I don't know. Recession is not coming. I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe austerity, maybe, but recession is not coming anytime soon. So I think you've got your economics mixed up there, mistake. But the Glazers are not paying for it. This is what you need to get: is the Glazers are not paying for the stadium. The taxpayer will probably pay for the stadium. The investment will pay for the stadium. United are not paying for the stadium. So in terms of a monetary value, we're not paying for the stadium. So, and I don't disagree. Like, there's nothing to suck up on this channel. I am fully eyes open. I've had to suck it up for 13 years. I am not a sort of fan who thinks that the good times are going to come back. I'm of an age where I've absolutely seen the good. I've absolutely seen the bad in full HD, in full 4K, and I'm not asking for the glory days to come back. I would love them to come back. I just want this club to be happy again. I just want this club, a club that I've supported for 40 years, to compete again. I'm not even asking to win the league year. I'm asking to become a relevant club again, where we can watch the thing that we love. Everybody loves, whether you're a City fan, whether you're a Liverpool fan, a Stoke fan, you love your club, and all you want to do is you want to see your club compete, and you want to see your club do well. And that's what I'm asking for. That literally is it. Wayne says, things don't last forever. Some people take things for granted. Agree with you, Wayne. Nothing in life lasts forever. That's a fact of life. The only sure things in life are death and taxes. And that's life. Kruger Boy says, are you feeling confident about chances against us at Brentford? Yes and no. Do I think we can do it? Yes. Do I think we'll do it without drama? No. No, I don't. I'm confident. So I'm confident we have the players to do it, but I'm not confident in the team that comes out. So I'd be lying to you if I said that we're confident. I'm not. I think we'll win, but I think it will be a very cagey win. I'm not going to, I'd love a 4-0. I'd love a nice easy 4-0. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be a scrappy 1-0, 2-1. But I think we'll win. I think we need to win. But you cannot take it for granted. Hi from Uganda. Hello. Scott, you're spot on. This channel is the best. Thank you, guys. You are legends. No offense, but people who play Sora are actually sellouts or gamblers. It's glorified fantasy PL. You have to use room money. Yeah, it's not for me. 30 matches in 14 nights. Exactly. You can't compete. Evening, JB. Good evening, my friend. Kevin McGee, Mainoo cannot play instead of Mainoo cannot play instead of the DM. The thing is, right, so Kevin, right, in the Amorin system, we need to get away from a CDM and a CM, right? And I've said this many times, just because I've been speaking to sporting fans and it's out there, right? Amorin plays two centre midfielders, so you've got to imagine in the middle of the park you've got two lanes, right? They're basically like wingers, but in the middle of the park. And what I mean is that he wants solid defensive, solid attacking, ball carrying athletes. He wants his centre midfielders to be up and down the centre of that pitch. He's not really bothered that they are number 8 or number 6. He may like one that's more defensive minded and one who's more attacking, but he wants two box to boxes. He wants two defensively minded, two ball carrying good passers. He just wants, in his ideal system, he wants two athletic people who can pick that ball up and drive, but also get up and down. So whether they both go up, they both get down, one stays back, and that's what he wants. So we need to get away from this whole number 6 and number 8, because that's not what he wants. He wants a pivot, and he wants two really good, strong centre midfielders. Not a CDM necessarily, not a centre midfielder, but two athletes. Johnny Hill says, if Ugarte and Maguire start instead of Mainoo and Yoro, then Amorin will be setting us up to lose. And it's worrying that I can see him doing this. He's terrible at decision making. Johnny, I think he's stubborn. And one of the things that I'll say, and where I agree with you, is when I will be Amorin out, I'm staunchly Amorin in, right? I'll even be him in if we finish 15th. Where I'm Amorin out is if he starts putting his own agenda and his own mentality and his own beliefs ahead of the fans and the club, then he needs to go. And if Johnny, he starts Ugarte and Maguire, I do get that. If he starts Ugarte and starts doing these weird things again, we don't need to be Amorin in or out, right? He's going to sack himself. So he needs to stop putting the right players in at the right times, Johnny. And I agree with you. The greatest says, I think you suck, but I'm here. The greatest, don't be it, mate. If you think I suck, I get it. Look, people's channels are not for everybody, right? Don't waste your time. Genuinely, don't waste your time. It is. You could be having a wank. You could be, I don't know. You could be doing anything better than watching me on here, right? Just go and do it. Just don't waste your time. Don't waste your time, my friend. Don't waste your time. Johnny, you are referring to Gobridge. He's going crazy these days. Way calmer a few years back. The Nothing Guy says Mainoo is a great player with lots of potential. I hope he goes on to become a world-class player. So do I. Who would you bring in as the manager? I wouldn't normally answer this, Wayne, but because it's you, I will. Enrique for me. PSG. I think what he's done at PSG, getting rid of one of the best players in the world. You could say that. Went to Madrid, but Enrique's come into that team. He has put a sense of togetherness, fixed the egos, and won Champions League. I would get him all day long for me. All day long. I think the next manager can't just be about tactics. He has to be a manager of men and be able to get the best out of this team. So for me, Enrique for me. What do you think about the Ballon d'Or standings? I think that Dembele was the right choice. I do. I absolutely do. Look, the Ballon d'Or is a popularity, right? It's about mates, right? That's all it's about. Now, Yamal, should he have been in there? Maybe. But I think the right person won it. The club's currently paying Maguire 190, Mason Mount 250. Oh my God, Johnny, I know. I can absolutely see why Mainoo wants that figure. I get it, but we have to say no. Like these amounts of money that are being paid are ridiculous. And at some point, if Mason Mount, if you're looking at Mason Mount in terms of the sort of form or the player that he was, could you argue that maybe that's too much even then? But we're not that club anymore. So I think if Mainoo's pushing for that, maybe he'll get that elsewhere. But he's not a 200k player. The moment that he is, fine. But right now he's not. But I get it. I don't even think it's him. I don't. I really don't. I really don't. Scotty says our owners don't pay anything. Exactly. They invest and just pay the interest. Exactly that. You can't compete. We've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. Rob says the Glazers out all day long. We need Ratcliffe out. Exactly. I agree. Miss Life says Amorin needs to go. We've not had that for a while, but interesting opinion. William Jones says 3-2 to United. Hopefully. I hope so. Johnny Hill, Scott, Ineos have backed Amorin. He just doesn't improve plays. I disagree, Johnny. I disagree, mate. I do. I respect it. I do. I disagree. I don't think he's been backed. I think they've given him money, but he's not been backed, mate. He's not. I think again they've bought him the wrong players. He needed a centre midfielder. Johnny, this team finished 15th last season. The majority of this team are still here. Amorin needed to be completely backed. Where I will concede that Ineos are backing him is even if he finishes 12th this season, they give him another season. So I want to see that. What I want to see is, fine, they spent money. But what I want to see now is you back him as well by giving him that time. So I will concede that point as long as Ineos back him in terms of giving him time. I do think it's a waste of money for United Stadium. Wayne, mate, it is beyond, mate, that. It is, for me, Wayne, it is, imagine Liverpool letting Anfield rot to the point where it's just cheaper for you. It'd be cheaper to knock down your home and rebuild it. It's not about the money necessarily. It is we have to knock it down. We've got no choice. It would cost us more. It's got to the point, Wayne, where it would cost us double the amount of money to refurb it than to build a brand new stadium. It is disgusting. It is that stadium will be a symbol of how far we've fallen as a club. So for me, the stadium is not about the money. Well, it is, isn't it? But it's about the symbol of the Glazers ruining our club. Mr. Life says Amorin has been the most backed manager since Fergie. No, he hasn't. He really. Please tell me how. Make that comment make sense to me, because he really hasn't. Johnny Hill says they gave him a complete new front three, a goalkeeper together, costing 200 plus. Keep in mind they did this manager who currently is improving players. Shahid says no idea who you are, but you were just saying to figure out the types of people that I might get connected with. Not sure. No idea who you are, but just trying to figure out the types of people that I might connect with. Not sure how to do that. Do you want to give me a little bit more context, mate? Need to know what it is that you're trying to achieve. Miss Lowe says, why would Enrique come to United? Like, it would be a massive downgrade for him with the club in its current state. I don't think he will. But I got asked a question, right? I got asked a question, and I normally wouldn't answer the question because I'm Amorin in, and I wouldn't normally answer the question. It's a hypothetical answer, right? I want Enrique. Is he going to come to this club? Hell no. No, of course he's not going to come to the club. But I was asked a question of who I want, and I answered the question. If the question was, do I think Enrique would actually come? My answer to that is no. Elijah says, no, mate, Barca are scary, slid right through the defence this evening. Like, thanks, Elijah. The Nothing Guy says, I would bring Mourinho because I don't think Enrique would come. He wouldn't. Mourinho also just got sacked, as it's a great chance to bring him to United, and he's very familiar. Not for me, mate. Not for me. Absolutely, Jose would make this club absolutely worse. Wayne Rooney, best player ever. No, not for me. Not for me, no. He is up there. Who's my best player ever? My personal best player ever. So people can talk about George Best and that kind of stuff, right? I never saw him play, right? I've seen videos and clips. So I would be lying, and I wouldn't be true to myself. Now I appreciate that Dennis Law, Charlton and all that. You could argue best players of this club ever. I never saw him play. For me, who do I think is the best player? For me, is Roy Keane. I mean, Roy Keane to me is the best player for different reasons. I also love Mark Hughes. I know Mark Hughes was never a world-class player, but for me, Schmeichel, I think Keane for me, or Cantona, I'd probably say Cantona for me is probably our best ever player for me, closely followed by Keane. If you're asking me about Rooney, Rooney's up there. I mean, Rooney is one of the best players ever. He really is, but he's not the best player ever, in my opinion. For me, Cantona and then Keane. Mainoo should be starting more. I do agree, Johnny. I would argue with how stubborn Amorin is. Even if he bought a midfielder, he would pick Fernandes. Johnny, I agree with you, mate. You don't need to argue that with me, mate. There's no argument from me on that. He is stubborn. Mickey Dave says, I don't agree. Was, to be honest, on backing this clueless manager. He's not clueless, mate. I disagree, but again, respect the look. I am not one of these people, and I'll never be one of these people that won't read a chat if you are Amorin out, right? Because I think it's really important that we get both sides, right? And I think you're valid in that opinion, and also as well, the choices that Amorin makes, he makes himself look like a clueless manager. So I get it completely. I really do. JB, we 90 plus 2 in full time today was a great stream. JB, we're 90 plus 2 when's full time today was a great stream. Very, very soon I am going to read his last chat, and then I am going to go. I personally believe Dembele is the winner. 2 would be Rafinha and 3 would be Salah, or Vitinha 4. Interesting. United won't improve until Amorin is sacked. Casemiro out. I think Gtech will play. I hope Mainoo gets the chance. Mickey Dave says, we've got some great players, including Fernandes, and he just isn't playing. I agree. Lim says, Glazers aren't the problem for me. The team is already heavily invested. If it's the manager is the biggest problem. Liam, I'm not even going to get into that, mate. If I was to answer that, look, I respect your opinion on it. I could go at you for half an hour as to why Liam you are so wrong. On this channel, I don't believe necessarily in right or wrong. I don't believe that my opinion is always right. I don't believe that your opinion is always wrong or right. Liam, you're just wrong, mate. On that occasion, mate, I'm sorry, you are absolutely wrong. Roy agreed. It's like Mourinho was the best manager for United since Fergie. Maybe that's an indictment for the club since Fergie left. Or Scholesy, I agree. Usman says if you could take an ex-United manager, not Fergie, to replace Amorin, if he goes, Jesus, mate, you could pick anything. I would go Ranić. I would. Absolutely good. Oh my God, Steve Jobs. Thanks, mate. Appreciate that. Glory, Man United. Jim H says, how many times a day do you think about the Roman Empire? Actually, Jim H, what's really funny, and I think Jim H, you think you're being clever there, a lot, because my children are doing it at school. So actually, Jim H, I think about it quite a lot because I'm helping them. So yeah, I respect and value opinion. You know more about United than me. Now, Liam, look, mate, I'm not calling, 100%. But I think on this occasion, I promise you, I could give you chapter and verse as to why the Glazers are the problem. But I also do respect the opinion that Amorin, it's not looking good for him. It's not looking good. What do you think is going on with Xerxes? I think Xerxes he's just not fancied. I just think Amorin is not his biggest fan, and we know how stubborn he is. Blue Game says, guys, there were 3 minutes of added time. Rate JB's performance out of 10, 6 being the average. He says, I hope he doesn't play Delo on Saturday. He will, my friend. Any manager can't fix United, but Amorin is clueless. The worst win rate of any manager, even worse than the manager that got us relegated in 74. Look, we're going to find out, right? We're going to find out. But I absolutely cannot argue Amorin out. I'm not going to. I can only argue Amorin in, but I can't dismiss Amorin out as Vincent Kompany. McMahon should be our next manager. Johnny Hill. Everything I've said, I still think Brentford are way stinkier than us. So I've got a 3-1. I really hope so, Johnny. I look at Amorin and he reminds me of Ange in a sense. I can see that he refuses to change his system no matter how bad it gets, and he's sacking himself on national TV. Liam, again, mate, coming up with some good points. The low left wing back is decent. I don't know, mate. I don't know, mate. I don't know. Let's see. I don't think he's been the best, but let's see. Would you be shocked if Amorin was still there after Christmas? No, I wouldn't be shocked, mate. Absolutely wouldn't be shocked at all. Ineos haven't been in long enough, but Jim Ratcliffe seems clueless on it to me. I agree with you, my friend. It's basically a situation of who stinks more. Andrew says, when opposition fans hope your manager stays, that must be an indictment on the manager. It really is. It really is. Eliza, hi mate, I'm well and hope you are too. Andrew's much better. He was more effective in the final at least. Don't even get me started on that. So guys, I am going to go an hour and 43 minutes. Absolutely ridiculously long time. I love doing this. Guys, you are the best community on this platform. We are much better than other bigger platforms. They've been doing it for a long time. This show gets better and better and better. Watch along, exactly. I will be doing a watch along for the game as well, so feel free to come on. Even if you're not a fan, come on and give us your thoughts and opinions. So guys, as I do say every single evening show, because it is important to say, and as people have proven tonight, right, this is what I always say. In life, you can't buy time, right? And you can't buy health, right? And if people don't want to be here, right, and if people don't like the show, life is too important, right? There's so many more important things than watching some bloke talk about football. If you don't like it, you don't have to be here, right? But Bluey Games, mate, absolute legend, absolute legend. I'm okay. Had some kinky fun with the missus, and now I'm tired. Oh, mate, you're cracking me up, mate. Absolute awesome. But yeah, guys, I mean, look, all right, I appreciate it. This is why I spend so much time reading out your chats. Is because I value everyone's opinion, and you guys are absolute legends. So I can only thank you so much, and it never gets boring. It never gets boring thanking you guys for making the channel amazing. You interact with me, interact with each other, absolute legend. So I will be back tomorrow at some point. I will be back on Saturday to the watch along for the game. So feel free to join me. Feel free to join me as much as you can tomorrow. And yeah, guys, I will be back tomorrow. Take care. Have a good rest of your morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. And yeah, take care of yourselves. And I'll see you very, very soon. Take care and good night.